Welcome back to episode 6 of Coaches on the Couch. We've got Will with us today, who's going to be on the next couple of episodes and joining in a big push session as well down at Allegiance. So, Will, obviously, share a bit about yourself, your background. You know you competed yourself in the past.
Yeah, mate, nice one for having us on, by the way. Looking forward to this push session later as well. So yeah, a bit about myself. Obviously we met about a year ago, was it?
I think so, year and a half, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like obviously you'd competed. Like maybe it was about like 6 months ago, something like that.
Now it's 2 months, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
But like you started your prep like beginning of the
I
year.
started my prep
Yeah,
6 months ago, yeah.
yeah. But like so basically when we met, I'd probably just come off the back of competing. So like when you saw me, I was like pretty lean. Definitely not as lean as I am now. So yeah, I competed the first time in 2020. So that was like COVID times. It was like I'd say it was a bit of a pull together prep. So I hadn't really I was lean enough through COVID, and then I sort of did maybe like an 8-week prep, and we got into it there really, and then went into a bit of an off season, maybe like a 6 to 9 months off season, and competed in 2021. That's when I did like a lot of shows. Then I think I did about 5 or 6 shows. Competed in UK DFBA, did the Northern show,
What category?
junior. So I just squeezed into the juniors.
Yeah.
So it was quite funny actually. So when I first like applied, the date of the finals was on the 18th of October. My birthday's on the 17th. Or no, it was on the 16th. My birthday's on the
Did
17th.
it by a day.
So like you can only compete in the qualifiers if you're going to be under 23 or under 24 on the day of the finals. So I squeezed into it. So I literally just all got in. So I was junior bodybuilding. So I won the North show in my category. And then went to the finals and got absolutely smoked. By like
You got the win though, didn't you?
yeah, I got the win. It was like a good experience. But yeah, I didn't place top 5 in the finals. It was a good lineup. I know everyone says it was a good lineup, but I think it was like 15 to 20 lads, load of
It's
monsters.
a lot, isn't it?
So yeah, that's a bit of an intro into me, in terms of the bodybuilding side. Obviously, I do a little bit of coaching on the side. Got a handful of clients, that I like manage alongside my full-time job. So yeah, that's a bit of an
Catch
introduction
up
to
on
me.
where you're up to.
Yeah.
Lee, yourself, obviously, you competed recently like myself.
Yeah.
We both went away, which is why it's been so long in between the episodes. And we thought it'd be a good one to get someone else on board. What you've been doing, obviously, since your comp, where are we up to?
Just been eating mainly.
See your stories.
Yeah,
Plenty of food in
so
there.
just straight into off season. So we had time away, didn't we? On holiday. And then it's literally just been straight into off season. Like my feedback was kind of I just need to be bigger. So that's what we
How
just
much food you on then?
like just shy of 6K a day.
Oh,
So a lot of food.
crazy, bro.
A lot of
That's
food.
ridiculous.
So yeah, it's going down pretty well, to be fair. It's not like I'm, when you get to the back end of an off season where you're
Yeah.
like struggling to get the food in, it seems to be like okay at the minute. Like my appetite's still decent. I'm not super fat yet. Like obviously I put a lot of body fat on. Probably see it in my face, like my
Your
cheek.
face, you said it's the biggest one.
It always
Especially
goes on my
compared to the
cheek.
last video, your
Literally.
feet was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
at the comp.
Yeah, so yeah, just straight into off season. I've got like some injuries, which tomorrow I'm going to see someone about,
Yeah.
because my knee is just not getting better, and then I've got like a slight tear in my right lat, so it's just like affecting training a lot. So I can only kind of do push day, hamstrings, and arms basically. So there's like I haven't done back for like 3 weeks. Can't train quads. I haven't trained quads in like a month. So
So you weren't going to wait on the feedback tomorrow to assess approach to training,
Yeah,
all
so-
that, and change in nutrition and all of that, or do you reckon you'll still stay on just as high?
yeah, I still say on just as high, to be fair. It's like a 2-day thing. So hopefully they think it's just a lot of inflammation around my kneecap. So they've got like laser therapy and all that shit. So
I'm a
hopefully,
bit worried if you've only been training push and we've got a push session. But yeah, but you should make it fun at least.
Yeah, well, you're gonna smoke us anyway because you're on 6,000 calories.
yeah. We shall see. But yeah, so I'm just kind of working around that. So it's a bit frustrating. Obviously, I can't train as good as I want
Yeah.
to, but at the same time,
You've adapted around
yeah,
it,
you're
which is
still doing
something
what you're doing.
we will touch upon in this. Will, like myself, you work quite a lot, don't you? We're both like part-time online coaches. Lee, I know you've took a lot of clients on recently,
Yeah.
haven't you? So you're very flat out
Yeah.
and adapting around the busy life, adapting around injuries, adapting around ongoing things is something that we all have to manage. A lot of people are like, oh, you've got it easy. There's always the feedback on Instagram, isn't it? Like, oh, it's easy
Yeah.
for you because you've got the time to do it,
Yeah.
or you're in the perfect position. But there's never such a thing,
No.
which is what we can obviously touch upon a little bit later. Coming up to the new year, where obviously is a big time for people that join the gym. What would be your number one advice right now in the lead up to New Year for people to do to kind of get the kickstart ready to hit it hard?
I would say try and get into the gym before the new year. It's
I was
not.
going to say that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to say start 2 months ago.
Yeah, literally. Because it's not going to be as busy. Like the
Yeah.
gyms are going to be absolutely manic in January. It's a weird one here because people either go flat out from January or they're just trying to do what they can up until January. A lot of social occasions, things like that.
There's a lot.
Drinking.
Work studios have done me over a little bit personally. Don't know if you had any yourself.
I haven't had a work to do this year, obviously, because in London and that. But yeah, to be honest, if I was going to give one piece of advice, I'd say if you come to this point and you haven't started the gym yet, get it all out your system now. And really just get it out your system now. And then when it comes to the new year, get a plan in place and start fresh. So you can really, really go for it.
How many sessions would you approach then in the new year? This is a big one. I've had quite a few chats with people that, I'm going to start in the new year. Even like my flatmate, and he was like, I'm going to just go in like 6 sessions a week. I was like, whoa. You're going to be burning yourself out straight away.
Yeah.
And you need, for me, the first couple of weeks should be easing yourself in. Like start with 4 or 5, build the routine up,
Yeah.
and then push a bit harder.
I think it depends what works for you and around your job or how busy you are and how many times you can commit to it. Do you know what I mean? So if you're saying 6 times a week and then you miss a session, you're gonna think, oh fucking hell, I've missed a session now.
Yeah.
Motivation might drop a little bit. So just
I
around
think that's the
what you
big
can do.
thing of January. People go, I'm going to go for it. This is going to be my year.
Yeah.
And they go too hard too quick instead of like, taking the right approach, actually assessing that, actually seeing what time they've got properly.
And having a plan.
Yeah, an actual structured plan
Yeah.
to follow.
Yeah. I think that when you were saying there 6 days a week, it depends on how people train. It depends what people's style of training is. I know people that go to the gym and they're not taking it maybe as seriously as us three. They've never competed. They're not looking to compete. They want to get it for the health and fitness side of it. And 6 days a week, if you're not training with massive intensity, it's probably manageable.
Yeah.
If you're going in, you go doing a 45-minute session, relatively low intensity, few weights, doing that 6 times a week, you can probably manage it. And it also depends on your background, what you're used to. Let's say you've been slacking on the gym for the past 6 months, but you've got a decent foundation and you've trained in the past before. You could probably deal with a few more days a week. But I definitely agree the fact that you said start off, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Start off and gradually build it up over time.
For me, that's been the hardest bit post comp. Cam brought my volume down in my sessions, and I like to train with intensity, but I like a lot of volume. And he was like, "Nah, your body's just not going to respond. It needs to recover." And
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like low volume and just going fucking heavy. Obviously, still with intensity, but
yeah,
I like the lower volume sets where you can go heavier. I mean,
yeah, I get what you mean. I enjoyed the extra ones like them burnout sets, but they've all been stripped out, and it's been a hard adjustment, to be fair.
yeah.
Yeah, those will gradually ramp up though. Obviously,
Yeah.
as you move into, the off season, and you can gradually deal with that bit more volume. I'm sort of a mix between the two. I'm like you, I like those all out sets where,
Yeah.
like, let's say you've got a hack squat in, I'll just do one set.
Yeah,
Like,
just go all
it's
out on
never
it.
going to really go above one set, to be
No.
honest. But then on the flip side, I like, let's say if you're doing arms,
Yeah, little
or
things like that you can.
I
yeah.
like to add more volume into
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Those like 15 to 20 rep
Yeah.
sets, maybe 2 to 3 sets, something like
Yeah.
that. I like that as well. So I like the balance of both.
With competing, do you plan on competing again?
Nothing in the pipeline, but Never say never. I might, I might do come back when I'm like maybe late 20s and see what's going on.
How
But
are you
nothing.
structuring training then? Because I know you're in a bulk at the moment. Are you
Yeah.
just going through the same process as though you'd be competing? Because I see how shredded you got last time around. On your last, like, it was just a holiday shred, which was the next level. You was pretty much in
Yeah.
comp shape.
Yeah, to be honest, I've only got one switch really. Like, if I'm doing a cut, I'm probably going to get close to stage condition just because that's how I'm wired now. I think when I go into a dieting phase, I'm taking it seriously, and I think it's sort of this ties into the coaching bit as well. If you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to
100%.
show it. But yeah, what you're saying, how's my structure now in terms of bulking? A lot more relaxed than it would be in a cut. I think for me, having that flexibility and allowing myself to know, you obviously prioritize work, prioritize other aspects of my life. It means that obviously I'm still making progress in terms of the gym,
Yeah.
but I'm not going down into those granular details,
Okay.
and I'm not being as strict as I was on prep.
Have you got a time frame on your bulk, or is it just a case of when it?
There's no time frame. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just do a cut like next year for like a holiday or something. But like, really, what's the point in that? If I want to make some decent progress, I'm gonna have to go through at least another year,
Yeah.
and then yeah, in 2025, I may see. I might choose to jump on stage if I put a decent amount of tissue on. But we'll see. I think definitely for now, just right through this year, see what muscle I can put on, see how much
12
progress I
months
can
at
make.
least.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very similar to mine. I think yours
Same,
is
yeah.
you're in between, aren't you? I think
It
we
just
spoke the other
depends
day.
how it goes, yeah, because of the injuries. If they don't clear up, it's just I'm not going to be able to train back.
No,
I'm
there's no
trying,
point, is
yeah.
there?
So potentially the back end of next year, if not like early 2025, maybe, which seems fucking ages away, but
2024 next year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
I lost track of what
Yeah.
yeah. That's this. I'm doing 12 months. It's my discussion with mine. Like, I know
Mm.
the only thing that I need to do is add size. So I probably my back end of bulk could be what you're currently on.
Yeah.
I still don't know how you shovel that much food in.
To be fair, I finished my last bulk on just over 5K, and I was
Fucking hell.
struggled then. So like I've just because I finished my prep on like 2,300 calories, went straight to 4,000 after like post show, and like you know how it is post show, you just fucking starve in. So
Yeah.
I just going through that, I was want touching me, 5K, same want touching me, 6K. It's like all right, okay, this is
Nice level.
yeah, nice level now. Don't get me wrong, it some days it's hard. It depends if I woke up late. Remember I woke up late the other day. I was like, fucking hell, I'm behind on my meals, and then I've got to like
Crank you up.
cram them in. So it's one of them, but you just get it down.
So structurally, great point. Yourself, your food intake, obviously during a bulk, when you're working, how do you plan it in?
So I plan it around my day in a fairly structured way. It's basically on, let's say, training day, for example. I train early, so I'll always get a meal in before I train, and then the rest of the meals after that just fit in when I can grab a break. I work from home, the majority of the time, so it's
Pretty
it's
easy,
really
yeah.
flexible.
Yeah.
I can just go to I prep the meals. I say I prep 50% of my meals, like 2 meals of a given day. They'll just be in the fridge ready to go. Microwave them, have it back to work. Like it's really not overly complex. It's just what suits me, and allows me just to get all my food in basically. The only thing I say is hard. Obviously, it's nothing compared to the food that you're on. When you're on, more calories than you would be in a dieting phase, you can feel, lethargic, bit sluggish,
Yeah.
Tell you that,
tired
I
when
am
you're
like that.
and when you're trying to focus
Yeah.
at work. You can feel tired sometimes, but there's ways to counteract that. Lots of caffeine,
Yeah.
But yeah,
So lethargic side of things, I've with certain meals I've felt the same. And working away's made it a lot harder. Like my middle of the day meal is literally 2 packs of rice and chicken, and as soon as I've consumed that, it's just like the next hour's out the window.
Yeah.
What with you working from home, and a lot of people do nowadays, would you advise to leave your food till later in the day if you want to be more productive, or have you crammed in yours earlier?
So for me personally, I that works really well for me. So say that like I'm on high calories at the moment, for example. Um, Personally, I'll obviously have some food in the morning, post workout, like pre and post workout, but then like during the day, I'll have less of my calories during, let's say between like 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. I won't really be eating that much. I'll have like a decent post workout. I won't be eating too much. For me, that works well. And then I'll have like a higher portion of my calories later on in the day. Personally, that works for me, and I can still sleep fine. But let's say if you're having like a digestion issue, if you're stuffing your face at like 8 p.m. at night or 9 p.m. and then you can't get to sleep, obviously don't do that.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to work well for someone. But for me, it works well. And it's good to test these things out.
Yeah. What about yourself? Yours, like
Might have just spaced out just throughout the
youth and
day.
volume,
Yeah,
it's spaced
yeah,
out.
yeah, pretty much. I normally train about midday anyway, so I have my meals are just like 8, 11, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, like half
Same
7.
time every day.
Try and keep it as close to that, and then like half 9, 10 o'clock is my last meal. So that's how I kind of space it out, just because of the sheer amount. But I think it's like what you touched upon about having a lot in the back end of the day. I think it's about what sits well as well, that digests well, like you said.
Yeah.
All the food I eat is digesting perfectly, and I think that's the difference between my last one and this one.
So you kept it as clean as you can.
Clean as I can, yeah.
Because obviously you're on 6,000. Like that is for a lot of people that is the top end. Like they like to take things.
Yeah.
What sort of foods are your main go-tos that you found are the best digestibles?
It's mainly all the whole foods. Like I have potato, I have obviously rice, all that sort of chicken, and then I have two bowls of oats. So one first thing, one like my second to last meal. Cream of rice. I have
There's nothing that you've introduced so far then that would be like more of a fatty side of things. It's
the only
literally-
thing I have is I have 2 homemade burgers with white potato like chopped into chips. That's the only thing that's like kind of cheaty, if you know what I mean. But it's
which isn't a bit homemade as well.
yeah, it's homemade, so it's not even that bad. And that's it.
Yeah, you're proper going for it there with like the
Yeah.
traditional bodybuilding
Yeah,
style.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're not really like typically like higher calories or like
No.
calorie dense options. Like you've
Yeah.
gone with like oats and potato,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stuff like that.
It's
They must
all
be like
clean, literally.
yeah, like
hard.
there must be big portions.
Yeah,
Not
it
to do
is.
6,000
Yeah,
calories. That's
yeah, yeah.
serious stuff.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it just all sits well. So, and I've noticed if I go, I spoke about the time frames, like I have at
Yeah.
certain times. If I go, like normally I'm like obviously full. I'm like, oh, I just need to eat, and I can eat it. But if I go like an hour after I'm gonna eat, my body's like, right, you need to fucking eat. My stomach's like going. So
That shows
it's like
you've built a
clockwork.
perfect
Yeah,
routine literally there.
it's literally like clockwork. So I know when I need to eat, basically. But it's working well, and I obviously mine's all from home anyway, so it's very easy compared to someone like you who's
Have you
on the
not
go.
found it affects being on that sort of volume affects any of your productivity levels with your coaching?
It definitely makes me feel sluggish. I'm not gonna lie. Like you said, when it gets high, I've noticed I'm napping, like I'm wanting to nap at some point in the day, which I didn't really ever used to do. So I'll nap. I'll try not. It's mainly after I train. So as soon as I get home, I'll eat, and then I'm like zonked on the sofa. But then my daughter will end up waking me up or something. So yeah, that's the only thing. I just feel a bit. I just need a nap basically after training, which I think is just to the sheer amount of food
Yeah,
I'm
it's
putting down.
naturally, if you're putting that much into your
Yeah.
body, then you're going and putting yourself to the limits.
Yeah,
Your body's naturally going to want some extra recovery.
yeah, yeah. But I wouldn't say my productivity is less because I know what I'm
Your
doing.
routine.
Yeah, yeah. So it just comes down to routine and stuff. But I do feel generally a bit more tired like after training, which is
Yeah,
normal.
it's only natural. And routine was something we obviously touched upon in the last one.
Mm.
In the next one, we are going to go into a bit more detail into the goal setting. The whole point of this was a bit of an insight into where Will's up to, myself, Lee, and then we want to give you a real like breakdown of how to really set your New Year's goals, how to set yourself up in the right way, the right structure, the right routine that's actually going to benefit you going into the new year. Because it's a waste of time, isn't it? So many people go, "Oh, I'm going to achieve this next year. I'm going to set out and do this." But when you speak to them, how are you going to do it? They're like, well, I'm going to. They don't even know, do they?
Yeah.
Like stuttering,
Mm.
which is what we will dive into. I think it's a good insight as to bulking, how it affects people. If you are someone that works in an office, I think your approach is a lot like mine. I do try and push my lunch back a little bit so that you're productive, but there's no reason to still not get it in. You just have to bear in mind what's going in your body and the right time that suits you so that productivity levels don't drop, which is obviously something that you don't want for work and progression in your career.
How have you found your like work and productivity since
The bit,
going into yours?
the biggest and hardest thing for me has been coming back from holiday. I was flight delayed, straight in the next day, 17 days on the back. I've really, really struggled to find my full routine as
Yeah.
good as what it was on prep.
Mm.
I feel like I've had a bit of a meltdown in a way. Like I'm eating the food, but my morning's not the same time as it used to be. I used to get up, bang, 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 always on the go. My
Is
meals
that because
are,
of work?
I think it's
Or is it
because of
because
everything. I was that in the zone, living in a hotel,
Mm.
working 12 hours a day, going to the gym for 2 hours, sleeping. I've allowed myself to do the socializing on holiday, which was absolutely unreal.
Mm.
And then I've come back and I think a part of me really enjoyed the socializing aspect.
Yeah.
And then I've said yes to Christmas dues and done them this week. And I've kind of been drawn in a little bit to a bit too relaxed and a bit too much socializing where I need to dial back in. And I've said that on my past 2 feedbacks to Cam, and it's getting there.
Yeah.
But I found it difficult.
Have you still kept all your training though?
Training's been good, yeah.
Mm.
Training's been the best part of it. I've been stronger every week. It's just nutritionally, I said yes to an extra night out where if it was on prep, I would have never said yeah. But because I'm on bulk, I'm kind of like, well, I'm doing bulk for 12 months and I've let that slip in a little bit too.
Yeah, like that's what I've said. Like I've got a lot of clients who've done the photo shoots and stuff like that, and they're now going into their like bulk or reverse or whatever you want to call it. And like this time of the year is for kind of socializing.
Yeah.
So like a lot of them have been on a prep for like a 4 month prep, and I'm like, just enjoy a night out. Like it's not the end of the world. So I think like with you, you was on prep for fucking ages. You deserve a bit of bit of time off.
It's just mentally when you've been so focused,
Yeah.
it kind of like screws you up. It's like, well, what do I actually really enjoy? I'm like, I really enjoyed the place I was on prep
Mm.
and that routine. The socializing I've enjoyed, like it's been great, but I know it's not like true to exactly what I want to do.
Mm.
And I've just said to myself, come January, I'll be fully on it. But it's like I just need to stop. Like I say to a client, stop waiting for that January. I still hit all training sessions, but there's still something in the back of my mind that keeps going, nah, you're not doing it as well as you could.
Yeah, you can be better at the end of it.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. But I think that's, like I say, the big socialising, and then in the hotel, you're on your own. I work and I'm on my own every night, and it kind of just, I did them 17 days off the back of it, and I think halfway through I was like, just lost my head. I was dead upset. I got dead upset with myself, and I don't know why. Just like, what's going on?
Yeah, because like if you were doing that for such a long time, I know your prep was pretty long. When did you start at the beginning of the year?
Long prep.
16, 17-week prep, yeah.
So it's pretty long prep. So if you're in that state of mind for that long time, you sort of like you deserve a bit of a break now this time of year. And like, because the thing is, everyone's the harshest critic, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're so harsh on themselves. So you deserve that bit of a break, especially this time of year, like you say.
Mm.
And like I know, like in the new year, when you say you're going to get on it, you're going to be on it.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I said to myself. Like, but
It's like we spoke about prior to starting to prep. It's about when I think like what you said, when you go into a prep, it's like you flick the switch and you're like fucking all in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's going to be similar to how it's going to be probably for you in January.
yeah, everything's
like-
lined up.
Yeah.
I know where I'll be training. And it's like I'm kind of waiting for that to happen in a way. So it's like I've been in a bit of cruise mode. Training's been mint, but just no. My nutrition could be a lot better than what it's been.
Yeah.
I've allowed the extra calories to be dirty calories. So still hit them,
Yeah.
just not as clean as it could be.
that's
So
sound.
the abs have started to disappear quicker than what they
They're
should
gonna
have,
though.
really.
Trust me, they're gonna. Mine have going. Mate. It's like depressing, but then at the same time, your training's flying. So
Yeah, that's one thing definitely in a bulk keeps you going. Like seeing the numbers fly up is, I think is
Yeah.
the best bit about it, and that's where the pure focus has been. Each session is great. We're 5 kg up on that. We're 10 kg up on that. And I'm a bit scared to try and push with you. Not gonna lie. See what numbers you've.
Oh, same here.
Been watching
and put
your
the pressure
stories.
on that.
We will see it.
That'd be good.
So I think we wrap that one up here, and then in episode 7 we go really in detail, give some people advice on the proper structure, the way to approach New Year's, and make sure that you do it right.